Finishing maneuvers are something that most wrestling fans associate very closely with their favorite superstars. In theory, a good finisher can make or break certain wrestlers. There are a lot of times where we see certain guys and they look fantastic, but they have a lackluster finisher and it kind of hurts their presentation. A lot of wrestlers also go through phases where they actually have to change their finishing maneuver for different reasons. Here's a list of 5 wrestlers who changed their finisher. Number 5 on the list is Daniel Bryan. Now, Daniel Bryan was an indie wrestling legend, wrestling for Ring of Honor for most of his career and finishing people off with a move he called cattle mutilation. That move consisted of Daniel Bryan underlocking his opponent's arms and flipping over, doing a bridge and pulling the opponent's arms together tighter and tighter until they submitted. Cattle mutilation won Daniel Bryan so many matches in Ring of Honor and helped him win and retain the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship on multiple occasions. However, when Daniel Bryan debuted in WWE, he only used the cattle mutilation once in his first match against Chris Jericho. Daniel Bryan wound up settling on using the LeBell Lock, which then became the No Lock, which then became the Yes Lock, which then once again became the LeBell Lock. But that was Daniel Bryan's choice as being his submission finisher in WWE until SummerSlam, where he debuted the running knee strike against John Cena, winning the WWE Championship. Cattle mutilation will now go on the shelf as one of the better moves that isn't being used in wrestling anymore, as no one seemed to have adopted that move to be made their finisher in wrestling at this point. Daniel Bryan's cattle mutilation finisher is one of the better finishers in the history of wrestling that isn't used to this day. Number 2 on this list is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins wrestled in Ring of Honor as Tyler Black, and while he gained a lot of success in Ring of Honor, one of the things that he was closely associated with was his finishing maneuver, which was called God's Last Gift. God's Last Gift was a take on Shane Douglas's Pittsburgh plunge move, where Rollins would hook his opponent into a perfect plex position. But instead of dropping his opponent over his head, he would use his leg to catch the other wrestler's leg and drive his neck and shoulders into the mat. It's no wonder the WWE didn't let Rollins adapt that move and keep using it in WWE. It's a dangerous move where most of the impact is being taken on the back and back of the neck region. Seth Rollins then ultimately used the blackout move that he had used in Ring of Honor as his finisher in WWE, which then became the curb stomp, which was then renamed the stomp. Seth Rollins is still using that move to date, even after a hiatus where he actually adapted a front facelock DDT and Triple H's pedigree move as his finisher. Rollins was really best known for his God's Last Gift on the indie run, but the stomp will go down as the move that we most closely associate Seth Rollins with for the end of his career. Number 3 is a guy that Seth Rollins knows very well, and that's his former Shield mate, Dean Ambrose, or Jon Moxley. Ambrose debuted in WWE using a front facelock where he drove his opponent headfirst into the mat, almost like a DDT. Ambrose used that and won the United States Championship and many matches in his WWE career with that move that he called Dirty Deeds. However, inexplicably, at one point, Dean Ambrose completely changed his finishing move and started using a very quick version of the double arm DDT that Mick Foley had used during his run in WCW and WWE. Ambrose kept the name Dirty Deeds, but stopped using the front facelock version of the move for a very long time. Ambrose continued to use the double arm DDT version of his move, even adapting it to a lifting double arm DDT and calling it the Death Rider when he left WWE and went to the Indies and AEW. But Ambrose broke out the old front facelock version of the Dirty Deeds maneuver in a match in the G1 Climax tournament against Tetsuya Naito. This may be the researchers of that move, but Dean Ambrose may be most likely associated with the Dirty Deeds double arm DDT version that he used for years in WWE. Number 4 is one of the most popular wrestlers in the history of the business, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. When Shawn Michaels broke away from the Rockers and turned on Marty Jannetty, he started using a move called the slingshot suplex, where he would underhook his opponent in between his legs and drive him back first into the mat. Shawn Michaels used that move for a while, but then that move completely disappeared from his repertoire, and Shawn started using the move that we know and love as his finisher, the Sweet Chin Music. The super kick was a move that Shawn Michaels had used for years as a part of the Rockers and in singles competition, but the devastating nature of that move warranted it becoming Shawn Michaels' finisher, and it's the move we most closely associate Shawn Michaels with now. The slingshot suplex will forever be known as Shawn Michaels' first finisher in the WWE, but it's definitely not his most memorable. Finally on this list is another man who started in the independents and in Japan, and then came over to WWE and changed his finishing maneuver. Finn Balor was Fergal Devitt, or Prince Devitt, on the independent circuit, and in New Japan. While as Devitt, Balor used a move that he called Bloody Sunday, an underhook face lock driver. He also used a version of it called Reverse Bloody Sunday, and that move was the reverse of his Bloody Sunday finisher, driving the back of the head into the mat. Balor had always used the double stomp as one of his big moves and broke it out on many occasions in Japan, but when he came to WWE, that became his finisher. Balor's used the double stomp now to win most of his matches, even though on many occasions he's teased using Bloody Sunday as one of his big moves. As a matter of fact, he started using it as his finisher on NXT programming for a while before going back to using the foot stomp as his main finisher. What other guys changed their finisher in the middle of their career? Anybody else that you think should be on another list? Comment below and let me know. Until next time, this has been the Slam Sessions.